I shall present a description of a meditation to be conducted within one's heart, which Ramanuja, a South Indian theistic theologian and thinker, dated approximately between 1075 to 1140, introduced in his work. Before that, I would like to shortly present Ramanuja's ideas on the bhakti path, about which Professor Halina has said a few words. In summarizing remarks, I shall try to refer to the bhakti meditation and to the practice of hesychasm, tranquility, inner peace, achieved in prayer by its continuous repetition, and try to indicate at a common background of both. Ramanuja's in-depth interpretation of the concept of bhakti, which literally means the sharing of man in God and God in man, or man's partaking of love, which he conducted in many of his works, resulted in saturating it with multiple senses. For Ramanuja, bhakti is a particular form of mystagogy, which potentially can transform man and his perception of the reality, so that he sees his life in a perspective of transcendence. The mystagogy shapes man's existence, brings an axiological dimension into his life, and ultimately guarantees its fulfillment, which is the attainment of the summum bonum. Bhakti is also a practical philosophy, which is supported by inter-religious prescriptions regulating man's life in accordance with social order and stage of life. In life structured in such manner, the importance of religious experience is emphasized because it can play a decisive role in forming or shaping man's outlook on life, as well as giving him inner integrity. As a practice of every day, it consists in a formative process of spiritual ascetic exercises, which consist in 7 ways of purifying one's body and mind, such as discrimination regarding food eaten, or self-discipline, which liberates man from emotional turmoil, or meditative practice, for example. According to Ramanuja, homo religiosus should also practice a bhakti meditation, which was expounded by the earlier teachers of the tradition. And this meditation is known in the school of Ramanuja under the name of Vedana, inner knowing of God. Vedana is equated with a particular meditative practice of the classical revelatory texts of India, the Upanishads, and a person, or the absolute about which the classical Upanishadic teaching speaks, is for Ramanuja identified with a personal God, Vishnu Narayana. The core of the meditation is the inner realization of God, which is to make God present to the practitioner. It is by incessant remembering of God, by constant watchful awareness of Him within, that one reaches the ultimate aim of the meditation, namely the most clear inner perception of Him within. Can one, however, find a concrete example of this practice? It seems that one such description is to be found in Ramanuja's work, where meditation on one vidya, that is, wisdom or sacred knowledge of Indian revelation, is expounded. This meditation, as Ramanuja stresses, consists in contemplating the knowledge within one's heart. Let me first quote the particular sacred knowledge which for Ramanuja is to be meditated upon. Certainly, I quote, certainly all what exists is Brahman, that is, the Absolute. Filled with inner tranquility, one should approach him reverently in thought, as the one in whom the beginning, the end, and the breath. Indeed, man is undoubtedly made of resolve. What a man becomes on departing from here after death is in accordance with his resolve in this world. So he should make this resolve. And this is the resolve. This is he, or this is that, myself, Atman, that lies deep within my heart, made of mind. His form is life, of luminous nature, real is his will, space is his essence. He contains all actions, all desires, all smells, and all tastes. He has captured this whole world, mute, immobile. This is he, or that, myself, that lies deep within my heart, smaller than a grain of rice or barley, or smaller than a mustard seed, smaller even than a millet grain, or a millet, sorry. Sorry. But, or a millet kernel, but it is larger than the earth, larger than the intermediate region, larger than the sky, larger even than all these words put together. This is he, that, myself, that lies deep within my heart, who contains all actions, all desires, all smells, and all tastes. It has captured this whole world, mute, immobile. This is Brahman, the Absolute. On departing from here after death, I will become that. Here it is how Ramanuja conceived on the meditation within one's heart, the core of which is the above sacred knowledge. First, the practitioner should contemplate the sense of the sentence, all what exists is the Absolute, Brahman. He is to be reflected upon as the one who is life-giving, the soul permeating the whole creation, the bestower of individual souls. In the next step, one is to contemplate Brahman's perfections, which belong to his nature proper. The perfections belong to the person of Vishnu Narayana, who governs the whole creation. The practitioner should reflect on the following qualities of God. His body is light-giving, his form luminous, he realizes his will, his nature is space. As the nature of God is defined here by his functions, the perfections enumerated should be seen as referring rather to his thisness, this particular being. Then one should contemplate with adoration the image of the highest person, which is God as well, in one's heart. One is to reflect on God as he is seen in this image. In this seeing God within one's heart as such, reverently contemplating the highest person in such form, that defines this meditative phase, the meditation should be conducted. The heart of the meditating subject becomes the seat of the divine person. In this way, the man's soul can attain the highest person, to the one who is beyond any measure and beyond any image. And this is how Ramanuja explains this particular phase of the meditation in his own words. Having explained with these words, this is he, myself, that lies deep within my heart, smaller than a grain of rice or barley, smaller than a mustard seed. Having understood that within one's heart, of the one who reverently approaches him in his thought for the purpose of meditation, there is the seat of the highest person. The highest person is to be reverently approached in thought as being the same with the living soul. And it is to be done in the following way. This is he, myself, that lies deep within my heart, which contains all actions, desires, smells, and tastes. He has captured the whole world. At the end of this elucidation, Ramanuja adds, it is within the heart that the transcendent form of the one who was placed there shall be attained. In the final stage of the meditative process, the subject should realize God's mercy, who only wants his good. He should think, I quote after Ramanuja, it is because of his compassion for us that the highest Brahman entered our hearts in order to bring us to new life. This is also the moment when the practitioner becomes certain that such meditation unfailingly brings about spiritual emancipation. And summarizing Ramanuja delineated above consecutive stages of a very concrete spiritual practice. The meditating subject focuses his whole attention on the revelatory word, experiencing its sense of spirituality in his heart, in the innermost part of himself. This particular introspective examining of the sacred knowledge within one's heart, which leads to the experiencing of the presence of the highest person of such form within the innermost essence of the human being, is the bhakti meditation. Reflecting on the words, this is he, myself, that lies deep within my heart, smaller than a grain. And the words, this is he, myself, that lies deep within my heart, larger than the earth, larger than the sky, the meditating subject discovers the inherent relationality between his self and the highest person. This fragment of the sacred teaching indirectly shows the constitutive aspect of the spiritual structure of man, which manifests itself at the moment of comprehending the paradox expressed in the Indian revelation. It is within the space of his or her heart, in deep concentration on the highest person in such form that the man experiences openness of his spirit, acquires full awareness of his identity, and discovers what conditions it. The revelatory power of the sacred knowledge, which Ramanuja used in his theopoetic interpretation of its content, can be seen in the series of invocative prayer-like identifications. This is he, myself, that lies within my heart, smaller than the grain of rice. This is he, myself, that lies deep within my heart, larger than the earth. The paradoxical sentence metaphorically represents the experience of the relation of individual soul to the highest person. The word self, which in this particular formula resists our understanding because of connotations which are shown as a series of paradoxes, force the meditating subject to concentrate on this word, attempt again and again to attain a full comprehension of its in-depth spiritual sense. This seems to be the way in which the poetic value of the image transforms into an eschatological one. Ramanuja, in his hermeneutical effort to uncover the sense of the word self, on which resists understanding, seems to discover that the human becomes what he truly and essentially is when he faces the other, regardless what the other is. It's an infinite or finite other. The paradox-based metaphorical image of the space within one's heart, the meeting place of the finite man and the infinity, is helpful for understanding what the essence of knowing within one's heart that Ramanuja speaks about consists in. The sequential steps make it possible to facilitate the production of inner image of the nature proper and the essence of God as he is known in the given religious tradition. The meditating subject experiences him within his heart as the causa efficiens of a particular kind, a soul of all creation, the star of life. The ultimate step is to see God as merciful and compassionate to his creation, who becomes accessible for everyone who puts his trust in his salvific powers and beneficial grace. Now, the time has come that maybe I should explain myself as to why I put together the two spiritual practices, that is, bhakti meditation, exposed by the Indian theologian of the Vaishnava religious tradition, and the practice of hesychasm, which is an heritage of the Eastern Christianity. It is not because I would like to indicate a general and therefore necessarily simplifying similarities between the two, such as direct addressing God by the practitioner, or in or with a series of particular prayer phrases in which God's own reality is evoked and intensely contemplated upon, or the intimate direct relationality bond which happens in the meditative prayer, or else the necessity to seek God's mercy and compassion by the subject who turns to God in his or her prayer, in a prayer within oneself. I do not also want to speak about differences, such as the different image of God which is evoked during such prayer or meditation, or the difference in understanding what revelation is and how it operates within the two different traditions of religious traditions. The reason why I put together the two spiritual practices is that they are the articulations of particular manner in which it becomes possible for man to approach God. Gerhard Overhammer, Austrian Indologist, developed the transcendental hermeneutics of religion, in which religion would be primarily seen as the factor and stimulus occasioning the event of encountering transcendence, in which the innermost spiritual structure of man becomes completely and irreversibly reshaped in the absolute radical plane of such encounter. It is therefore the most intense experience in the spiritual life of man, which grants the immediateness of the transcendent reality. Yet such experience which we can see is exemplified by both the practice of bhakti meditation and the hesychia, inner tranquility attained in prayer, create the space for yet another event. It is in the perspective of the infinity, which infinity we make familiar to ourselves under the name of God, that man becomes liberated from the limitations of his own subjectivity, or being the knowing subject. To make encountering God in one's heart existentially true and real requires from man the courage to open up the space within his or her heart to the infinitely other, which also implies a relation to the other. It is then up to man's will to accept this gift and learn how to use it in life, also with regard to the fellow man. Thank you very much.